Welcome to Dark Corner's Bond Girl Battle Royale tournament, where Graham and I are determining which Bond girl would win in a fight.
Okay, this is how the draw worked out. 64 Bond girls from 25 Bond films. These are the brackets. They will battle each other till they get to the final.
The results of each bout will be determined by us discussing who we think will win, and it will no doubt get tougher as we go on.
We're going to dive head on into our first matchup, which is Holly Goodhead versus Cara Milvoy from Living Daylights.
Like, is that how it's pronounced?
I don't know.
So, Holly Goodhead.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
You just found her.
A woman?
Let's be honest, not the most memorable of Bond girls. As a fighter, I'm not sure she has much. I mean, she's a CIA agent.
CIA agent.
So
doctor
she
and
must
astronaut.
have been trained.
Yes, astronaut. You don't get into the astronaut training program
without being able to hold your own in a fight.
No, but being physically fit.
Yeah,
as
and a doctor,
to...
she could maybe heal her own wounds during. It's like having a medic when you're playing a game online.
There you go. As opposed to Cara, who is a cellist.
She does try to assassinate somebody.
She does try, but she's just there to distract.
I feel like there were very few good matches for Holly Goodhead going into this, but I do think she might have happened on one.
Okay, Holly Goodhead.
I'm gonna call him Holly Good.
Holly Goodhead. Next up, Strawberry Fields. Gemma Atherton from Quantum of Solace going up against Pam Bouvier, Carrie Lowell from License to Kill. This is two agents.
MI6 versus CIA. So I feel like we're determining which agency is better here, really.
Oh my gosh!
Doesn't necessarily feel like either of them are the most competent.
Smile, boys.
Don't use the flash! I think there is one big difference between them.
One of them survives.
Yeah,
the film.
One of them not so much. To be honest, even if it was not for that, just on general attitude, I think that Pam Bouvier has the edge.
Will not contest it.
Sorry, Gemma. Not necessarily more of a battle, but Anya Amasova from Out of The Spy Who Loved Me.
Or may I call you Triple X?
She's going up against Manuela from Moonraker, our second...
Another agent.
My name is Manuela. I work for Station VH.
Another agent on agent.
Out of the 6 we've looked at so far, only one has not been an agent.
I'm certain that two such perceptive talents will enjoy working together in Sardinia.
Yeah.
A good reason for him to come into contact with Bond girls and keep them around for the gist of the film.
In the end, whatever job you do, you meet a lot of other people in that line of work.
007 Triple X.
I think pretty obvious. Manuela, of course, goes out to Jaws. We have Numi from No Time to Die.
00.
2 years.
007.
I'm not just any old 00. I'm 007.
Literally is a Lady Bond.
And Valenka from Casino Royale.
This is the chief's girlfriend.
Who poisons Bond.
Does poison Bond. She's actually the closest anybody gets in the 25 films to killing Bond.
Because he is actually legally
He
dead.
is legally dead.
Yeah.
That is an edge none of the other Bond girls can have. That said, I give it to Numi.
Do you know what time it is?
What?
Time to die.
So I'm not quite so sure now. Now you've made a really good case for Valenka, who, if I'm honest, I don't really remember very clearly from the film. But I remember him being poisoned, and that heart-stopping moment, literally.
Yes.
She can kill a Bond. Can she kill Lady Bond?
True. Oh, Numi's got the weapons expertise that is
Poisoning
required.
is sort of different to the hand-to-hand. We're assuming this is more of a hand-to-hand combat, I suppose.
Although
we may change that later
that's
on.
It. No, actually, that's true. Is there...
Has she poisoned Nomi before the fight even started?
Is there a stealth thing in here?
I think there has to be. Otherwise, some of these... I think you've got to include everything we know about them from the film. This is the first really tough one.
This is a really tough one, because it definitely is very one-sided for Numi. Now, Valenka does, in a hand-to-hand, she doesn't do very well against the terrorist guys who come in to get the sheath.
And you saw
they're going to cut her arm off.
That Nomi would have them.
Valenka doesn't make it through to the end of the film. She does get killed by Mr. White's guys. Yeah. On the other hand, Numi...
Bit by the book.
But very by the book. But she seems very sure that 007 is a number that means something to people in the Secret Service, when actually it only means something to people outside watching the Bond film. 00 numbers within the Secret Service, I don't think really mean anything. I think, or if they were, 001 or 2 would mean more than a 007.
007?
That must bother you.
She fixates on the 007 number that she gets given.
It's a sort of bad matchup in some way because they're both unique. There's only one genuine Lady Bond. There's only one who has genuinely killed Bond, albeit briefly.
I'm going to have to give it to, I would go Valenka.
I'm tending towards Valenka
Really?
because that, as you say, we've got a whole list of people, many of whom are trying to kill Bond. One of them succeeded.
One of them succeeds.
Okay, yeah.
Permission for Commander Bond to be redesignated as 007.
It's just a number.
I think that's controversial.
That is
controversial.
shocking. Next up, we have your favourite Bond girl,
Did I say
Solitaire.
that?
I'm sure you have.
I'm sure I said. I don't think I have, but one of my favourite Bond girls.
Going up against Dr. Madeleine Swan, one of the few Bond girls to make it through to a second film.
Indeed. Yeah, which I suppose that has to count.
Okay, so...
Solitaire can obviously see what's coming, so unless someone has slept with her in advance.
Which I'm assuming they have.
By compelling me to earthly love, the gods themselves have taken away my powers.
Ah, right.
We're not meeting these people at the point...
They
Oh,
come
no.
into- are we?
Oh, are we?
If we're not, then many of them are dead. Really, to be consistent, this has to be how they come into the start of the film.
I think it has to be them at their peak.
Okay, them at their peak. That's
Okay,
a decision. That's how we're doing this.
Okay, so Solitaire at her peak can tell the future, but she's not like 100%
Brilliant
on
at it.
You have made a mistake. You will not succeed.
Like, it's not determined. It's like, oh, danger's coming, but it's not necessarily going to tell her how to deal with that danger.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the best she can really do is see the result of the fight and not show up.
Madeleine Swan at her peak is that as a child
When she kills
someone invading her house. So are we going
Let's
with...
not go
Are
too.
we going with Madeleine Swan, the child?
I think we have to go with Leia Sedu's Madeleine Swan.
Okay.
Otherwise, calling that a Bond girl is just creepy.
Good with a gun.
Yeah, you know what? I
Madeleine
don't know why
Swan.
I'm arguing this one. All Solitaire has is the ability to see into the future, and that will just tell her she's going to get her ass kicked in
Yep.
this, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that wasn't very fun.
Again, Naomi had such a bad draw.
Our next matchup is...
Teresa
Just say Tracy.
Tracy Bond, as she is at the end, but that's not necessarily at her peak.
No, that's Diana Rigg on Her Majesty's Secret Service, or as possibly in the remake, on His Majesty's Secret Service.
That's what we think the title of the next Bond film should be.
There's no way Bond is going to die for King Charles.
I think that having established the precedent of appearing with popular characters, King Charles is probably making a list of characters I'd quite like to be in, in a Marvel film or something.
Who is Tracy going up against?
I said Andrea Anders, Maud Adams,
Yep.
in The Man with the Golden Gun, who is killed by Christopher Lee.
Just shot in the back from a distance.
I think she's shot in the chest from close to.
And she's just sitting there and then she's suddenly dead.
Yeah, I suppose she must have been. Yeah. But certainly by Christopher Lee. You know, I've always sort of assumed he killed her earlier and then brought the corpse with him, and I've never stopped to think that's obviously not what happened.
We're going to go to a video. What we know is that
Neither of them makes it to the end.
Roger Moore slaps her in a scene that Roger Moore really didn't like.
I love Roger Moore as Bond, but even he said he's the least likely person to play Bond. He's a pacifist, but he loved it.
Okay, so this is how she dies. Was it knick-knack?
I suppose it could have been.
He goes to meet her at an event. He sits down and she's dead. He's talking to her for a long time and she's just there like a statue. And then he realises that she's dead. Oh, and the verdict is in. Shot in the chest. You were correct.
Yeah,
so
we just don't know where or when.
We know exactly where. Just,
Okay.
and minutes before.
It doesn't really matter.
It is
I think
confirmed.
this is. I think this is Tracy's.
Yes,
Almost
absolutely.
regardless.
Okay.
Because she can ski.
Going up next, we have Magda from Octopussy,
Octopussy.
part of the Octopus Cult.
That's my little octopusy.
Versus Naomi from The Spy Who Loved Me. Naomi's main qualification is being Caroline Munro.
Fun fact here, she is the first Bond girl Bond kills.
What do you mean the first Bond girl Bond kills?
First girl Bond kills.
Really?
Yes.
He doesn't kill any other women.
Closest he comes to before is Fiona Volpe. When they're dancing, he turns her and
right.
someone shoots her. So this is the first Bond girl that Bond actually kills.
Wow, that feels really late in the franchise for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I will take your word for it.
He fails to protect a lot of other
Yeah,
women.
yeah.
A lot of women fall in the wake.
This is a tough one. I mean, if it's hand to hand, then I think you probably give it to Magda because she's got the acrobatic skills
Yes.
and that stuff. On the other hand, if Naomi brings the helicopter, then
I would say that there is a ruthlessness that Naomi has that Magda doesn't.
yeah, Magda sort of doesn't exactly switch sides. Well, actually, she does
does
kind of
switch
switch
sides,
sides
yes.
at the end, doesn't she?
Well, Octopussy sort of lives in this grey area,
Yeah.
and she's part of that. So it's not that she switches sides, she's quite sort of fluid in what side she's on.
Yeah, I think maybe realises she's on the wrong side.
She
would
never
be
tries to
better.
kill Bond, but in a fight, I would give it to Naomi.
I think we're going to go with that. Yes, Natalia Simonova
Isabella Scorpio,
from Goldeneye
yeah.
versus
Bibi Doll.
And I'll do anything for you.
Well, I'm exceedingly flattered, BB.
Bibi Doll being the ice skater,
Ice Skater.
from Your Eyes Only, and possibly the youngest in this list.
You've said she's 16. Is that the character or the actor?
That's what the Bond wiki
Okay,
says.
so either.
He thinks I'm still a virgin.
Yes, well, you get your clothes on. and I'll buy you an ice cream.
Natalia, bit scrappy.
Yeah, absolutely. Vidal doesn't really
She
do
does.
a lot except ice skate.
Hear me out. The
Okay,
argument,
yeah,
argument for ice skater, Tonya Harding.
Yeah, that's a very solid argument. And ice skates are deadly.
Deadly.
But I feel like if she was wearing the ice skates, that would be deadly. But unless they're actually meeting on ice, then
Yeah.
of limited use.
Okay,
I would still give
Natalia.
it to Natalia.
Yeah. This is the oldest entry here.
Or very probably.
Judi Dench, M.
Christ, I miss the Cold War.
Now, there's not many people I think M could take out.
I think we have to establish exactly what the rules are for M.
Peak M in the film.
Yeah, I know, but she's in charge of the British Secret Service. How
Okay.
much of that is she bringing to bear?
Who is she going up against?
She's going up against Stacey Sutton in A View to a Kill.
Come out real slow. Just another Zoran stooge.
So I think she's had a relatively kind draw as M.
Stacey Sutton, not great, not afraid of using a weapon. Judi Dench,
Can also shoot a gun. She must have. We'll assume that.
she had some sort
Even
of
if we
training.
don't know what her past is, we'll assume that to become head of the Secret Service, you weren't just in
Did
a
she
desk
do
job.
anything at the end of Skyfall?
She certainly helped with the preparation. I'm sure she would have had a gun.
So what we're saying is this is Stacey Sutton coming in to M's house, which has been tricked out like Home Alone. And all Stacey Sutton has got is a salt gun.
What's this loaded with?
Rock salt.
Well, if it was the other way round, I'd still give it to M.
Okay, M's going through.
Yeah. Helga Brandt from You Only Live Twice.
Yep, going up against Camille Montes in Quantum of Solace. This is a Spectre agent going up against a Bolivian intelligence operative.
I'll admit to not knowing a huge amount about Camille Montes because she's in such a bad film.
She's on a revenge mission, so she's very driven up until the point where she completes her revenge.
Right.
And then she turns into a typical I need saving Bond girl.
So we're saying if she has some sort of a grudge against Helga Brandt,
That's going to help a
then
lot.
that would have helped
This,
a lot.
and actually, in quite a few of the Bond girls, having a grudge is basically their driving force.
And Helga Brandt is a Spectre agent. Spectre is sort of tangentially related to Quantum, so she might have a grudge.
That's
You
quite
can
true.
probably sell that.
Hildebrandt is kind of a Fiona Velope clone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say quite on par. She's Spectre Agent number 11.
Quite high, top 20.
At times, that the Spectre Agent number 11 is like Al Qaeda number 2, that they keep getting killed.
No one in the top 10, but we could easily pick off number 11.
My take on Helga is she consistently fails to kill Bond given good opportunities. She has him tied to the chair, doesn't kill him. Has him trapped in the plane, fails to kill him.
Of course, this is also true of every big bad guy in every Bond film.
Yes, but this is all on her twice.
Killing him in the plane does feel like overly convoluted. If you're a super evil organisation, you don't need to make it look like an accident.
Especially when she already had him banged to right.
Can't gut follow through.
Where Camille can follow through.
Yeah, that's a decision.
Next up,
We have Chew-Me, the swimmer in Man with the Golden Gun.
and Jill and Tilly Masterson, the Masterson sisters, the first tag team we've got here. Neither of which particularly competent.
They're both memorable characters.
Yeah.
Chew-Me is a little bit memorable, but not really in the same league.
Yeah.
Chumi seems very
How's the water?
Why don't you come in and find out?
happy with life in general. The Masters and Sisters, it just doesn't go well for them.
Doesn't
They feel
go
like
well
a very
for them.
unlucky family.
Tilly is established at not being a great shot.
You wanted to kill him. Why did you shoot at me?
I didn't. I was shooting at him.
Well, you're a lousy shot.
And then she runs off into the woods and gets her head cut off.
Yeah.
Jill Masterson,
Never really has a
we
shot.
don't quite know what happens, but the next time we see her, she's painted in gold.
Yeah. To be honest, you could go either way. I feel like the fact that there's two of them
Yeah.
ought to make a difference.
All right,
All they
Chumi.
really need to do is just sort of hold her head underwater. I feel like that happy-go-lucky attitude will count against Chumi.
Well, there's only one small problem. I have no swimming trunks.
Neither have I.
Jill and Tilly Masterson somehow sneak through. This might be the biggest matchup of yet. Miranda Frost going up against Xenia Onatopp. This is two bad guys going
Yep.
up against each other.
So, Miranda Frost,
Yep.
double agent, Olympic fencer, impressive.
Gold medal Olympic
Gold
fencer,
medal Olympic
but won
fencer.
by default.
She took the gold at Sydney.
By default, if I remember.
Still, sword fighting skills of some description.
Xenia Onatopp, again a close combat.
This is properly hand-to-hand, but she certainly knows how to handle a gun as well.
Xenia Onatopp's streak of sadism means she can take a little bit more punishment and
Yeah.
might enjoy it.
Oh, you think you can hurt me?
She feels like more of a killer instinct as well. Somebody who's killing for the pleasure of it. I think we're going with Xenia Onatopp.
Onatopp's
I think it
going
would be a
through.
disappointment not to see her in the second round.
Okay.
Much as we like Miranda.
Okay, next up we have Vesper Lind. I think regarded as a lot of people's favourite Bond girls, Eva Green.
Of this era.
Yep.
Of this era, yeah. Up
Going-
against Dr. Christmas Jones.
One of people's least
favourite
favourites.
Bond girl. As I think we said during the draw.
So Dr. Christmas Jones may dress like Lara Croft.
But isn't.
Vesper Lind,
I'm the money.
Every penny of it.
there's no killer instinct in there. She's like post-traumatic stress after the attack at the casino.
Yeah.
And Bond has to like suck her fingers, calm her down. I would quite happily toss a coin on this one.
This is the cruelty of the draw. Either of these up against Miranda Frost is straight out.
Okay,
But
let's
the way it
go with
goes.
this. Rock, paper, scissors. If you win, Vesper goes through. If I win, Dr. Christmas Jones
Christmas
goes
goes
through.
through.
Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Do you want to put that in English for those of us who don't speak spy?
So yeah, you won.
I'm actually pretty happy about that.
okay.
However much I think they're both relatively useless, but Christmas is that's just a bad film.
On the surface, this next matchup feels like it could be a walkover.
Miss Caruso from Live and Let Die.
Going up against Grace Jones's Mayday in From a View to a Kill.
I know it's the characters, but we love Madeleine Smith.
We do love
Cult
Madeleine
actor,
Smith.
Hammer actor, very active on Twitter. She's worth following.
And let's be clear, she's not just some random girl that Roger Moore is bedding at the beginning of the film.
No, she is.
She is an Italian agent.
And one who apparently survived to the end of a mission. So in an untold story, there could be a series of untold Bond, the moments that led to this point. That's one of the reboot I want to see. So she was like principal Bond girl in her own adventure. It's just we didn't see that one.
True, yeah,
And she
because
got
it was
to
coming
end
off
of
the
it.
back
Yeah.
of the mission. Instantly, little fun fact about her.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, she's not making it through to the next round. In the Italian dub, she's a French agent.
Oh right.
There you go.
It is interesting.
Mayday's going through.
Or should I say, ciao, bello.
Next up, we've got Jinx going up against Paula Kaplan from Thunderball.
Yeah, and much as I like the character of Paula, I think her death is one of the more emotional scenes
Yes.
in the whole franchise. I like Martine Bessick. On the other hand, it sort of feels like Jinx is going to win this
Yes,
one.
Jinx does take out Miranda Frost.
Yeah.
We know she can kill other Bond girls. Although you're saying about Paula's death being quite emotional, she does commit suicide rather trying to fight her way out.
Lago told you to be careful.
I didn't kill her. She must have taken some poison.
That's the proper agent thing to do.
It is the proper
Really,
agent thing to-
James Bond should have killed himself many times over.
Proper agent thing to do, but that doesn't stand well in a fight, if that's your solution.
I think you're being very hard on her there, but yeah, we agree that Jinx wins.
Bitch.
This is Rosa Klebb
Yes.
going up against Octopussy.
That's an interesting one, because Rosa Klebb's main weapon, the shoe with a knife in it, which you know, we make fun because it makes it look silly when she fights. On the other hand, kicking someone in the shins and you've won, basically, because it's poison, isn't it? And let's be honest, Maud Adams, he doesn't do a huge amount of anything, really.
Rosa Klebb is one of the very few leading female antagonists in Bond.
Yeah.
So you've got to give her that.
Plus, I think the M rule applies, that we assumed with Judi Dench that she had a history of violence that we know nothing about.
Yes.
I think you have to assume the same with Rosa Klebb.
Right, so what I'm going to say with Rosa Klebb... Oh, well, maybe I'm going to say, I think Rosa Klebb's going through.
I do.
Okay, we are going into the second half of the first round.
Yeah.
Rosie Carver, CIA agent, double agent, going up against Thumper and Bambi.
Rosie Carver maybe is just another of the useless agents, really. And Thumper and Bambi, they may lose to Sean Connery, but really that was because they chose to jump into a swimming pool after him when, frankly, they were winning.
That's true.
Foolish, but I still give it to them.
I also think Rosie Carver has one of the worst deaths, shot by a remote control scarecrow. Thumper and Bambi going through. So the wild cards, we have consulted the comments and have established these are the nominees for the wild card. The belly dancer from The Man with the Golden Gun. Blofeld's Cats.
I think that's a brilliant suggestion, whoever made it.
With 2 votes, Margaret Thatcher.
Technically a Bond girl by our definition.
My girlfriend also mentioned the Queen, but I think that's not in a Bond film, so it doesn't count. Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, was apparently in Diamonds Are Forever. Then we got another 2 votes for Joanna Lumley, one of Blofeld's test subjects on Her Majesty's Secret Service. But the runaway winner is Jaws' girlfriend, known as...
Apparently, Dolly Braces.
It is Dolly Braces going up against Jules St. John's Tiffany Case.
Blanche Ravellec is the actor who played Dolly.
Okay.
I mean, this doesn't feel like a particularly big hitting round, but you've got to say one thing about Dolly. If she is in any sort of active relationship with Jaws, she must be relatively tough.
Yeah, let's put it through.
Dolly Braces going through.
Blow up your pants.
Kissy Suzuki.
Yes.
From You Only Live Twice, going up against another tag team, hip schoolgirl nieces Char and Nara.
From The Man with the Golden Gun. It has to be said, for yet another agent who doesn't do a great deal.
She does kill somebody.
Yes.
She does save Tanaka's life.
It almost feels like they regretted killing Aki in this one.
Tiger said, from now on, you must do everything in Japanese style.
Who's the better character, the better agent.
It's a bit disappointing, yeah. Aki is definitely my
So I don't know if
preference.
I'm down on Kissy Suzuki because I prefer Aki. On the other hand, the fact is, the schoolgirl nieces, Bond himself is running away from the people who they beat up relatively easily.
That is true.
Stand back, girls.
Kissy Suzuki's got a dedication to her cause.
Right.
So
you think the nieces would go and hunt Pokemon instead?
What I'm going to say is, like, Bond sends her to go get help. She gets Tanaka in his army, and she comes back. She doesn't stop to get clothes.
Yeah.
She's still there in her bikini. They're all coming in with all of their ninja gear, and she's there, like, dedicated to the last. She's not wasting time on getting clothes.
I'm not sure that we should encourage schoolgirls to be fighting.
But one of the schoolgirls trained with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, okay. Going through. That's what it goes on. Electra King from The World Is Not Enough, who tortures Bond.
Yes.
Versus Severine from Skyfall.
The sex-trafficked woman.
Sort
Her
of.
terrible life is going to continue to be terrible.
Yeah, this isn't a long discussion. Electra.
Next up, Solange going up against Mary Goodnight. And you didn't think Mary Goodnight had a chance of making it through to the second round.
I feel like it's a joke that Mary Goodnight might get through and Nomi doesn't.
That is true.
Can't believe it.
Next up.
I feel like Mary Goodnight is more likely to trip over and shoot herself in the head.
Maybe the next round. Next up, very popular Bond girl, Plenty O'Toole, going up against top tier favourites, Fiona Volpe.
Do you like wild things, Mr. Bond, James Bond?
I'm afraid your hilarious name only gets you so far.
Hey, listen, you can't do this to me. Stop that. I've got friends in this town.
Exceptionally fine shot.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Fiona Volpe going through.
You know what? The bottom half of the draw is a lot easier to sort than the top half.
We have Paloma
from No Time to Die
going up against Miss Taro. So the most recent Bond girl going up against one of the first Bond girls.
Yeah, how about that?
Let's just say Paloma.
High spot of that film.
Yes.
And can kick ass.
Okay, Paloma. Lupe Lamora going up against Aki, one of our favourites.
I mean, although Aki doesn't make it to the end credits, that's really just because she happened to roll over during the night.
That is true.
Lupe Lamora slapped about consistently throughout the film by her boyfriend.
And ends up with an iguana.
Yeah, no.
It's a consolation prize for her. Aki
is going through. Okay, Tatiana Romanova from Russia with Love.
Going up against Dink. Carry On Girl favourite.
Another actor who we like very much. Margaret Nolan died recently. Tatiana's not an agent.
No.
But she does stuff in the film.
She shoots Spectre number 3.
Ah, yeah.
We have another tag team.
Yep.
Zora and Vida. Again, Martin Bestwick's second appearance in the Bond films.
The Gypsy Girls from Russia with Love.
And they're going up against Ling.
Darling, I give you very best duck.
Well, that'd be lovely.
Played by Sai Chin.
You can say your facts.
I can say my facts. Sai Chin, who appears also in Casino Royale. She's one of the other players at the table, so she holds the record for the longest gap between Bond appearances.
Oh, that's interesting. That's two Bond girls
reappearing up against each other.
Martina Bestwick already out, but going through
here.
Round.
I think the only problem with them as a tag team is that they may turn on each other. But we'll see if that happens in later rounds.
Next up is a matchup people didn't want. Gonna get anyway.
Melina Havelock
from Your Eyes Only going up against Madonna. I didn't even bother to research the name.
The fencing instructor.
The glorified cameo.
To try and vaguely justify one of the worst Bond songs there's ever been.
That alone. Madonna, I don't care that she's a fencing instructor, training gold medal level fencers.
In the end, Melina Havelock has the crossbow, range weapon over a close-up weapon. Plus, Melina Havelock didn't write a shitty song.
I don't like cockfights.
Next up, another great favourite here, we have Wei Lin from Tomorrow Never Dies, played by the great Michelle Yeoh, going up against two film appearance Sylvia Trench. Sylvia Trench, society lady.
I'm disappointed they didn't bring Sylvia Trench back in the Daniel Craig films as like a girlfriend. They could have easily done that.
Yeah.
Feels like a missed opportunity. But I don't think this is a particularly tough draw, and we'll talk more about Wei Lin in future rounds.
Cool.
There. Now you made me miss it.
This feels like another very one-sided matchup. We have Dr. Molly Warmflush going up against Pussy Galore from Goldfinger.
Two silly names.
It is.
One of them really works.
My name is Pussy Galore.
One of the other one is just silly. I don't know what the hell that means.
That wouldn't really.
Ethical.
Practical. Smart.
I don't know if it's supposed to indicate that she's menopausal or what. It just seems like a stupid name. No wonder they cut it from the film. It's just in the credits. But yeah, Pussy Galore is going through, which is good because I don't think she's an absolute given because there's tough agents out there. It's nice to see her in the second round because firstly, she's a quintessential Bond girl. Secondly, she's a rare Bond girl older than Bond.
Ooh.
And I like to see that.
Okay. Connie Dufour going up against original Bond girl Honey Rider. Connie killed by dogs.
Ah, yes. I think Honey Rider is a survivor. And she knows how to kill if she has to.
Yeah.
She feels like she's come up the hard way. I think in a corner.
School of Hard Knocks, Honey Rider's going through.
It does not feel like Corinne Dufour came up through the School of Hard Knocks.
Okay.
Ah, now this is an interesting one.
This is the Money Pennies versus Paris Carver.
Decision to be made. We are taking Moneypenny as all four of them, but they can only nominate one Moneypenny for each round. So they have to pick a Moneypenny to go up against Paris Carver. And they stand or fall on that.
Paris Carver, pretty
useless. Yeah.
If we're ranking who we think is the best money,
so it's from Harris to Maxwell. So it's which order did the middle two come? Surely. Or do you think that Lois Maxwell?
I think it's definitely Harris, Samantha Bond. She's got Bond in her name after all.
Yeah. You know what Lois Maxwell has? Firstly, she has the advantage of experience.
She does have that.
To get technical with our Bond meta-iness, then. We know that if we're saying they're all the same person, then Naomi Harris's character becomes Lois Maxwell, whereas Lois Maxwell's character becomes Caroline Bliss's because they're all on a tangent. So Lois Maxwell is a lot closer to those skills than Caroline Bliss is.
Naomi Harris, Samantha Bond, Lois Maxwell, Caroline Bliss.
So which one do you think goes up against Paris Carver? I feel like they could probably all have her.
I think they all could.
So maybe get
Caroline Bliss.
There you go. She didn't get many films, but she is the first Moneypenny up. And I think we're calling that a win for Moneypenny.
Anytime you want to drop by and listen to my Barry Manilow collection.
For the last matchup in the first round, we have Jacques Bouvier's widow going up against one of my favourite Bond girls, Domino.
One of your favourite Bond girls, really?
Yeah, there's like a soft spot for her.
I remember we rewatched Thunderball together because it was a favourite of yours, and it really hasn't aged as well.
Hasn't aged as well.
Those childhood memories.
The water sequences are very slow, but I very much like her sly comments.
So, what sharp little eyes you've got.
Wait till you get to my teeth.
True, but Jacques Bouvier's widow throws a hell of a punch.
But wait, the judges have intervened. Jacques Bouvier is a man.
I don't know how you thought you'd get away with that. But yeah, so Domino gets a bye into the second round. Round 2.
First matchup we have here is Holly Goodhead going up against Pam Bouvier, agent v agent.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think Holly Goodhead was very lucky to make it into the second round, and she should be proud of herself for making it.
No re-entry for Holly Goodhead this time.
Take me around the world one more time.
Right.
Anya Amasova.
Agent XXX.
Versus Valenka.
The only woman to have killed Bond.
Yeah. The only woman to have killed Bond, but you've got to say, Anya is one of those... Many women had the drop on Bond. Anya, you feel like when she's holding him the gun point at the end, you could see the fear in Bond's eyes. This could go either. She definitely could have him there, and she chooses not to. It's not a mistake.
The mission is over, Commander.
I would say multiple times she could have killed Bond and chose not to.
And it's a choice rather than I fucked up.
Yes. It's not like I'm going to torture you slowly, Helga Brandt style.
No.
When this mission is over, I will kill you.
So she basically spares his life for the whole of that
She
film.
has the ruthlessness to do it, and you do feel like that's someone who would just pull the trigger, none of this messing about.
Anya Amasova going through to the next round.
In my country, Major, the condemned man is usually allowed a final request.
Granted.
Let's get out of these wet things.
Madeline Swan
versus Mrs. Bond.
These are both sort of the same character.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
In different incarnations, which is interesting. I suppose very different endings to their stories.
Who do you want to make the case for?
I can't make a case for Madeline Swan. I just don't like the character very much. So I'll make the case for Tracy.
Okay, go for it.
Boy, what case can you make? She is one of the more action-oriented Bond girls. She can drive, she can ski.
Yep.
Feels like if the fight had any sort of athletic component to it, then that would be brought out. And in the end, although she is one of the ones who doesn't see the end credits, that's not like an error or anything. She is unfortunately on the wrong side of the car, as it were. So, okay.
Oh, that was something we didn't have in here, was Blofeld's assistant on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Too late now. Make the case for Madeline Swan.
Born killer, basically, is what I'm saying. She's lived alone, very independent. We know she can handle a gun.
I don't have to teach you anything, do I?
But my main argument, she's a mother. The mother's instinct, she's got to get back to her child.
I was going to say, Tracy's not trying to kill her child, right?
But she wants to get home to her child.
Right, okay.
Tracy is trying to kill her. She has got something to live for that I don't think any of the other Bond girls have.
Yeah, they're not a maternal group.
We talked a lot about what's driving these women, revenge being a big one.
Yeah.
But this is the only one who has like a mother's instinct, and I think a mother will fight to the death.
Wow, that I'll tell you what, I didn't think you could talk me around, but that's a strong argument.
If she was just like a regular woman, then I would say the mother's instinct wouldn't be enough, but I think she has been in situations.
Oh, I don't think this is going to be a popular result.
We've shown her killer instinct from birth.
Yeah.
Protecting her father, now she's protecting her daughter.
It's not a result I like, but I think you've argued the case very well.
Just going through.
Going through. It's another bad day to be Mrs. Bond.
Next up, we have Dark Corner's favourite, Caroline Munro, Naomi from The Spy Who Loved Me, going up against Natalia from GoldenEye.
Less investment in this, if I'm honest. I did feel like Naomi sort of crept through the first round to some extent. She, as you say, she has that killer instinct, which I don't think Natalia has remotely.
She's a scrapper, but that's it.
I think if she had to look someone in the eyes and kill them, then I think she'd be one of the Bond girls who just sort of like shakes and the gun's taken away from her.
Yeah.
All of you with your guns, you're killing your death for what? So you can be a hero?
Yep, Caroline Munro shockingly making it through another round. We have M going up against Camille. Go on, you make the case for M. I can't think of a case for M.
You don't like me, Bond?
Firstly, experience.
Yes.
We don't know anything about M's history, but you have to assume history of violence. She's been doing this for years. There's no way.
History of violence?
Yeah. Well, that's what these...
Of carrying out herself.
I believe she was probably an agent before she became head of the Secret Service. I don't think she doesn't strike me as just like a bean counter.
You think I'm an accountant? A bean counter, more interested in my numbers than your instincts.
The thought had occurred to me.
She wasn't money pennying it up.
You don't think that?
No.
But Ray Fiennes, his M, you would say that.
Possibly.
Is it just because she's a woman?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Bullshit, I call on that.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
I'm confident that M has that background. I think that in a pinch, if she had to pull the trigger, she wouldn't even flinch. I think she's one of the most ruthless ones in this.
Take the bloody shot!
You need to present the evidence in the film.
The evidence is that she has that job.
That's not evidence that she was a secret agent killing people.
You argued that Madeleine Swan was a mother. She might be a shit mother.
No, she's clearly not. She clearly protects her child in the film. Anyway, that match is gone. give me evidence from the film how M wins this. Remember, this is peak M in the films, not peak M prior to the films.
The point is that you do not achieve that position without having done that stuff. I absolutely think she's the one who makes the hard decision, who is absolutely ruthless and cold in the moment.
But as I think Pierce Brosnan's Bond makes out, she just sends people to die.
If you think for one moment I don't have the balls to send a man out to die, your instincts are dead wrong.
She's not the one putting her life on the line. She sends out other people to do those jobs.
But he doesn't know her history either.
She sent you off to me knowing you're not ready, knowing you will likely die. Mommy was very bad.
You're assuming. We got what's in the film.
What, do you think she answered an advert?
I think she probably did a lot of intelligence work, but I don't think she was in a Bond style situation.
I do.
But there's no evidence of that.
There's no evidence of what you're saying.
The evidence in the film is she sits at a desk.
She gets some action in Skyfall.
She does get some action in Skyfall. She does Home Alone up a house. Then we got Camille, who is an actual agent on a mission of revenge. She's got the scars to prove what she's been through. But I just don't think Judi Dench has got it in her.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Camille Montez because it's my least favourite Bond film.
M's going.
I think that's a rotten decision.
Let us know in the comments below, did we adjudicate that one poorly? It's the Battle of the Goal. Jill and Tilly Masterson from Goldfinger going up against Zinnia Onatopp from GoldenEye.
You think you can break me?
This does not feel like quite such a close one.
Jill and Tilly Masterson were lucky to make it as far as they did.
I think that even if Onatopp is sort of like killing one of them and the other one's hitting her, then Onatopp's just going to get off on it. So
the conversation's over. We're already on to the next match. Talking about one-sided matchups.
Yeah.
Vesper Lind going up against Grace Jones's Mayday.
Yeah, I don't think this is...
Dude, I've got nothing to add here.
No.
Vesper hasn't got anything in the canon.
Nothing. Mayday goes through.
Ooh, this is an interesting one.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, this is Halle Berry's Jinx going up against Rosa Klebb.
Sit down, number 3, while we listen to what number 5 has devised for us.
This is one of the first matches where we've got Bond girls from two different eras where I think this plays in quite strongly to advantage Jinx. Now we're dealing with different top-tier Bond girls in this tournament from different eras where there is a technological advantage. How do we even that up?
What do you mean by technological advantage?
Well, Rosa Klebb has got a spike shoe. Jinx has modern armory and all the rest of it.
She's got a gun. It's not like Rosa Klebb's got no access to guns.
But better guns is what I'm thinking.
In the end, you get a gun and you point it and you pull the trigger.
Nice and light. In a lady's handbag. No stopping power.
I don't remember Jinx using any sort of gadgets and stuff.
But Rosa Klebb, full access to Spectre's branch of Q.
And yet all they gave her was a spiked shoe. I don't know. I mean,
I've got a good argument for this.
Okay, go on.
Jinx goes up against Miranda Frost in a sword fight.
My, you get around.
One might say a sword fight similar to a sword via spiked shoe.
I mean, one might say that.
One might say that. In that fight, Jinx takes a cut.
Right, with a spiked
which
shoe.
is all you need from a spiked shoe with a poison. Let Blofeld explain how this works.
12 seconds. One day we must invent a faster working venom.
Rosa Klebb just needs one hit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Assuming that Jinx doesn't know about the spiked shoe, then yeah, you just think, yeah.
You believe in bad luck?
Let's just say our relationships don't seem to last.
Wow, this is a match. This is Dolly Braces going up against Thumper and Bambi.
Thumper and Bambi are getting a very favourable fall of the draw. Like I said, I feel like if she's Jaws' girlfriend, then Dolly can take some punishment. But nah, I would give it to Bambi and Thumper.
Well, here's to us.
Next up, Hip's schoolgirl nieces, Chara and Nara.
Good evening.
Going up against Electra King, the
torturer,
the first principal female antagonist since Rosa Klebb.
Oh, this just feels like cruelty to children.
I kind of feel the girls could take her in a fight. There's two of them and they're competent fighters. Electra King, I think she relies perhaps too much on the henchmen.
Right, yeah, we don't see her fighting a lot.
She's got the cruelty, but she needs the backup. So she's like someone who is powerful, kind of like in an Octopussy sense of having an organisation behind her.
Yeah.
But in herself...
The schoolgirls into the third round of this feels like...
It's happening.
It's happening.
Dive, bond!
Mary Goodnight, who has no place in the second round.
Good night and a pleasant surprise.
Against Fiona Volpe.
May I cut in?
I don't think this takes a lot of discussion, does it?
Okay, but as Mary Goodnight is going out, is there anything we can say in her defence?
The thing you say is she does survive.
Not good enough. She's out.
No.
Hit the master of the right switch!
The what?
Okay, this is Paloma going up against Aki.
Yeah, the lie of the draw is just... I mean, in the end, everybody has to go at some point, I suppose, with one exception. But, wow.
This is the biggest job I've ever had.
You're not seeing many more competent agents in a fight than Paloma.
No.
Aki...
A very competent agent.
Get down!
But we don't see enough evidence of her fighting.
Agent rather than a fighting agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paloma goes through.
Salute.
Salut.
Oh, it's a battle from Russia with love.
Gypsies versus Tatiana Romanova. Tough one.
Titania's main claim to fame is killing Spectre Agent Number 3.
Yes.
She does hesitate quite a while before doing it, and that agent is engaged in a fight with Bond at the time.
In a one-on-one fight, and it's not one-on-one.
Nope, it's 2-on-1. The Gypsies
go through.
Even if you kill me, I can say nothing.
Melina Havelock versus Wei Lin. Do you want to make the case for Melina?
I'll make a case for Melina. She's on a revenge mission.
Yeah.
She has a long-range crossbow. She is one of the youngest Bond girls. She lives to the end.
Yep. And the case for Wei Lin is
Michelle
Yeoh, and she's going to win.
Whoever you are, you outstayed your welcome. Come on.
This is a battle of the Bond girls.
Arguably the two most iconic Bond girls.
Yes, Pussy Galore going up against Honey Rider.
That's just an embarrassment of names.
Okay, who do you want to make the case for?
Okay, I'll do Pussy Galore. We know she has some kung fu skills.
Yep.
She's an active person. I think she's got the advantage of fitness, knows how to handle a gun. I think
Does she though? Let me go to the video of her wanting to fire a gun in a plane.
If you fire at this close range, the bullet will pass through me and the fuselage like a blowtorch through butter. The cabin will depressurize and we'll both be sucked into outer space.
There's an error there.
She's threatening someone. I think the fact that he knows she probably knows she won't use it, he just corrects it.
That's very sensible.
The main thing with Pussy Galore, she is a bad guy, at least initially. I think she has that ruthlessness, that killer instinct.
So my argument is, Pussy Galore, renowned lesbian.
You can turn off the charm. I'm immune.
Yeah.
Until she falls for the charms of James Bond. A very questionable thing in the Ian Fleming novels.
I must have appealed to her maternal instincts.
My question is, can Honey Rider turn her back? If there is a Bond girl who could do it, I feel it could be Honey Rider.
And
will
she's then going to kill her? That's cold-blooded.
Hold on, but this is it. Honey Rider does admit to killing someone by slipping a Black Widow spider between the sheets.
A female, and they're the worst. It took him a whole week to die.
My argument is Honey Rider turns Pussy Galore back to being gay and then slips a spider in the bed.
Raises the nature of how these fights are taking place. As we said, I think in the first round, I do feel like if Honey Rider was cornered, then she'd be the more dangerous one.
Yeah.
I think the hard life thing comes into again. I don't get that sense from Pussy Galore.
Honey Rider going through.
Honey Rider going through.
Moneypenny going up against
Domino Duval.
I'm going to make the case for Domino, so I'm going to let you pick the Moneypenny.
I do want to keep Naomi Harris, but I'm going to go for Samantha Bond as like the second.
Oh.
Purely because I think you're going to go really hard for Domino, because I think, so to speak, because you're an admitted.
But you're going for Samantha Bond over Naomi.
I don't think there's much of an argument for Domino, but you go ahead.
Domino kills Spectre Agent number 2, the second highest ranking agent in Spectre.
Doesn't she shoot him in the back with a?
Don't care. Do you want to change your Moneypenny?
No, I mean, that's...
Make your case for Samantha Bond.
Just because we don't see her kill anyone...
Evidence in the film.
We've established it's the same character.
Yeah.
They're all the same character. We know she has these skills from the past just because we don't see her use them. It's still Moneypenny. And it's Domino. She's very sweet, but she doesn't do anything.
She kills Spectre Agent number 2.
She shoots someone in the back. Domino hides in the corner while she's beaten to death.
Could you really see Samantha Bond fighting anybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
Out on some kind of professional assignment, dressing to kill?
Can you really see Domino fighting anybody?
Yes, I saw her right there shooting somebody in the back.
She's not fighting anybody.
I was on a date, if you must know, with a gentleman. We went to the theatre together.
Only because I've beaten you on several of the others, I'm going to withdraw, even though I think you're wrong. And we will put that to the vote below. I do think you would have had a much stronger case with Naomi.
But I'm keeping her for the next round. I think Samantha. Right. It's not. I'm keeping my powder dry on that one. I think that Samantha Bond is enough.
My feeling is you are not playing Samantha Bond. You're playing Naomi and going, oh, but it's the same person. And it's
to be honest, my main argument is not for Samantha Bond. It's against Domino. That I will grant you. I just don't think Domino survives against virtually anybody. She was lucky to get a bye into that round.
That ends this round. And it's getting heated.
It's getting contentious.
I was, just testing it out.
Round 3!
Getting intense. We came to blows on that last one. There is ill feeling. There is ill feeling in the room.
So, it's a tough opening match.
So you're making the argument for
Pam Bouvier.
And I'm making the argument for Anya Amasova.
Agent on agent, once again. KGB versus CIA. So, I like both of these characters, but I do like Pam Bouvier. It's not one of my favourite films. It's the Dalton one I prefer. And I do like that character. And there's no question that she is an action character. She has chops. She shoots people.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Fly a plane. I don't know that there's much more that you can say about her. She toughs it out.
I mean, I think we're both really honest. Andrea Massiver's going through.
Yeah, but, you know, I made an argument.
Yep. No,
and you're a Massiver.
I don't even need to. So this is an interesting one.
It's an interesting one.
So this is Dr. Madeline Swan going up against Naomi. Neither of these two did we really think would be coming through this far.
No. I don't know about made a mistake in the first round, but it feels like Magda would be a more natural one to have here.
I don't know. She doesn't seem like a fighter.
It's just the way the draw has fallen.
Well,
we've made the argument. She's a killer as a child.
We've made the case. So now it's really making it. Can we make a case for Naomi?
Not as a fighter. You really
as a fighter.
Can't.
We can't just bring in helicopter every single fight.
I don't think that Madeline Swan is a natural killer, regardless of what you say her, that she's been doing it since she was a child, whereas Naomi does have that streak of ruthlessness, whereas you don't see Madeline Swan doing that. On the other hand, we never see any evidence of her being able to fight.
I think this is where
limited evidence.
I think this is where we have to, like, as we go now, is to be very strict as to what we know from the films and less speculation.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Madeline Swan's probably got the stronger case.
So goodbye to Caroline Munro, who, of course, always a Dark Corner's favourite, but did very well to get this far.
Yeah. We have Camille from Quantum of Solace going up against Zinnia on a top. I kind of feel that she's sort of battled through, battle-scarred in every round and sneaked through. She was always going to be a mid-tier contender. And she's faced some stiff competition, but now she's come across a top-tier contender with Xenia on the top.
Yeah, this isn't a long conversation. Xenia goes through.
Battle of the bad girls.
And people who you feel both specialising in close-up combat of very different kinds.
My argument here, Mayday, quite a bit bigger, hand on the head.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Game over.
I suppose my argument would be that I bet when they sort of enter the ring, as it were, Mayday is fucking complacent.
My argument is, I think we established Rosa Klebb used her spike shoe against Jinx.
You can't oh, come on, there's a break between rounds. She can reload her spike shoe.
Oh, no, but it means that Mayday knows.
Oh, all the women were in the audience?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the results are
changing the rules.
Yeah, the results are known.
The results are known, but not necessarily the means by which they are attained.
I think the very fact that Rosa Klebb beats Jinx has definitely got Mayday's.
It will get the attention.
So she knows what's gone through. But yeah, I think it is legitimately hand on the head.
I would say that overconfidence could cost Mayday. And just because, and Rosa Klebb's only got to get in for that one shot. But I do take your point that she probably has a reason to be overconfident. She's stronger, fitter, younger, bigger. So much taller.
Yeah, Mayday's going through.
Mayday's going through.
Okay, our first tag team face-off.
This is Bambi and Thumper versus Hip's nieces. That's a fight and a half.
Who do you want to make a case for?
I guess I'll go with Bambi. Stick with I'll do the first one and you do the second. I feel like you can make a case for both. I mean, in the end, the argument is Bambi and Thumper, they are used to working together. They're very acrobatic. They clearly have fighting skills. They may not have the most practical wardrobe, but they're a team. I think is what I'm going to lean into on this, that they are a team, whereas yours are just sisters.
I say there is no stronger team than blood.
And yet you have siblings. I don't know how you say it.
That is the thing that joins these two together. They've worked together much longer.
They've not worked together. We don't know.
They're sisters.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who was it who said that there has to be evidence of it on screen?
They're sisters. They've grown up together.
We know that. That doesn't mean that they can fight together. It doesn't mean they can work together. In fact, for all we know, they may not get on.
I see them getting on perfectly well in this film.
They don't fight as a team, they fight individually.
They push Bond back.
Whereas...
They do what Bond can't do. And take on all of these guys.
Yeah.
Bond barely wins against Thumper and Bambi.
That's very hard to argue with. Can't believe they made it through to the fucking quarterfinal. Fiona Volpe from Thunderball, professional assassin. One of the more ruthless ones as well. Keep leaning into that heavily. It feels like I'm using it as an excuse for some characters who I think are probably going to lose, but still.
Paloma, We really only get that one scene with her.
Yes.
Coming in strong is the fact that she claims to have only had 3 weeks training.
I know. I've done 3 weeks training.
Think what she could do with another week.
Exactly. Very showy. This is one again where I feel that Paloma definitely a master of all of the guns, but also the physical.
Do I make you nervous?
No, it's just that I have no desire to be capsized twice in one night.
Fiona Volpe just has a killer's attitude.
Yeah.
She's like probably the original sort of femme fatale of the Bond
And yet doesn't
films.
put the bullet in his head when he needs it.
Some men just don't like to be driven.
No, some men just don't like to be taken for a ride.
My counter-argument.
Mark!
Volpe, Italian for fox.
Right.
Paloma, Spanish for dove. Fox eats dove. It's the only argument that I've got.
If that's your only argument, and to be honest, I didn't make the best case for Volpe either, because I do think that the bad girls are usually backed up by someone.
Yeah.
Whereas the good girls, fewer on the ground, but they're usually fighting for themselves.
Okay.
So, Paloma.
One of my friends sits this one out. She's just dead.
Zora and Vida.
The Gypsy Fighters.
The Gypsy Fighters going up against Wei Lin. The Gypsy Fighters are definitely scrappers, definitely dirty fighters.
Absolutely. You know, we haven't actually talked about Wei Lin because she's just basically walked every round.
She's walked through it all.
This is the toughest match she's had so far, and I still don't think it's really up for a conversation.
She's done very well.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, we expected her to come through.
Yeah.
She is. If we were seeding this, she'd definitely be top 3, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
Could you stop the girl fight?
And the final match in the 3rd round, Honey Rider going up against Moneypenny.
I think to have a chance, I've got to go Naomi. You've got to go Naomi Harris for Moneypenny. Although that does feel like sacrificing the final round.
There's a little bit of me that wants to stick it to you and pick the other one, just so she goes out cleanly. But let's have a look at Naomi's Moneypenny.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a given.
I think we might have glossed over the fact that the one time she had to shoot someone, she shot the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I really regret not bringing this up earlier.
Okay, for the record, Domino was going to lose to Honey Rider.
Yes.
So you've only deferred it if you're going to keep leaning into that.
I was thinking that Moneypenny would go through with Naomi.
I don't know. I
think
it's a much closer match than that. We're not going to assume because it's not in the film, but even if she has had sort of like combat training, which she probably did, again, I see Honey Rider as the street fighter. She has a knife.
My other thing with Naomi's Moneypenny, things she's established in that film, driving around, she does some great driving.
It's all right. You weren't using it.
But later, when she really should be driving in Spectre, in the second half of that film, she doesn't. And I think that's a real big oversight in the writing of those films, is that she could have done some driving when they're back in London.
It's enough! Reverse!
Which makes me feel that she gets rusty, and I really should have brought that up in the previous rounds. But basically what I'm saying is, Honey Rider's got it.
I think the main thing is whether or not Naomi Harris is the best trained money paper. What she is indecisive, and Honey Rider wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
So I think for that reason,
Honey Rider going through.
I'm not sure that's one I expected.
No, that's not what I expected. We're holding back the Naomi card for quite a while, and then only for it to go out.
Didn't pay off.
Okay, we are back now with the quarter-final.
It's not the most exciting match to start off, I don't think.
Dr. Madeline Swan
versus Anya Amasova.
Dr. Madeline Swan has been squeaking through the rounds on motherly instinct alone.
And one thing we know about Anya Amasova from the way she reacts to Caroline Munro's character is there is a streak of jealousy in there.
Oh, that is very true.
That could be brought to bear. That is
true.
And to be honest, I don't think it really matters because she's a trained agent.
Anya Amasova going through.
Yeah.
She was a favourite from the outset, so I'm not surprised to see her going into the semi-finals?
Yeah, it's just a surprise to see her up against Madeline Swan this late on. Now, this is a lot harder.
Zinnia on a top going up against Mayday.
As for handheld fighting, I think these are the two top ones.
Both of them, hand-to-hand combat, outmatch Bond.
That's important.
Outside of the film, Grace Jones manhandled Roger Moore with a dildo.
It was a black and white polka dot dildo. And when I'm supposed to walk in when he goes to Mayday, I see you're here to take care of me personally.
I want to make this argument sort of against Mayday, as it were. Sparring with Christopher Walken, he manages to pin her.
Ooh.
I don't see Xenia Onatopp going down like that.
No. No more foreplay.
Is Mayday pumped up on horse drugs?
I might have missed that part of the film.
I'm sure there's some sort of reference to it. If it is, here it is.
She must take a lot of vitamins.
Perhaps Pegasus does too.
There is something sort of superhuman about Mayday.
Yes, but I feel like Xenia Onatopp is the one who would take it, as it were. Who would? It's the Jackie Chan thing. No matter how bad he gets beat down, and he does, he always comes back. And I feel that Xenia Onatopp would be the one still standing.
Also, if we're going by what happens in the films, Mayday blows herself up.
Yes. She doesn't have the courage of her convictions. She changes sides in the last minute. Xenia Onatopp, bad girl to the end. An unfortunate death.
One that she enjoyed.
It's a pretty badass death, and I think it's one of those things you can say, yeah, Bond killed her, but he kind of got... It wasn't...
Fortunate.
He had to use his brain to do so.
Yeah.
It's not the pure hand-to-hand thing, and I don't think... Mayday's more of an instinctive fighter, more of an aggressive fighter, not really a subtle one.
It's decided.
It sets up an extraordinary bad girl clash in the semis. Hepp's nieces.
When this started, who thought that Hepp's nieces that were put in there as a joke would make it through to the quarterfinals?
Well, part of the problem is their scene is absolutely ridiculous, and you go by what's in the film, and they beat the people who beat Bond.
Yes.
And there's two of them, and they are up against
Paloma.
Now,
interesting, Paloma does show some good close combat fighting.
Absolutely.
As well as the guns. Dismissing the guns as an advantage that the schoolgirls don't have. I still feel that Paloma can probably hold her own in a fight.
Buzz Paloma as a good guy, and we don't get to know good girl.
Good girl.
She's one of the good guys.
Oh,
that's
good
just
guy.
what you say.
Okay, yeah.
As one of the good characters, we don't get to know her that well, but you get a sense of her having a sort of a moral side. How's she going to feel about beating up two schoolgirls?
If they're trying to get her, I think she'll be quite happy with it.
You think I don't know if I'd call her ruthless, but then I wouldn't call Hepp's nieces ruthless either.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to be turning out a bit too serious for the nieces. They've got this far, and now suddenly they're up against someone with guns who's been trained.
The nieces are going up against a bunch of generic henchmen.
Yeah.
Where Paloma went up against a room full of guys with guns.
Yeah.
I
think Paloma's going through. We don't need to overanalyze.
Bye-bye. Wei Lin, Tomorrow Never Dies, going up against Ursula Andress's Honey Rider.
Who I think has done, again, has very well. But I think actually, I would have seen her going out really early on. And the more we talked to her, the more I thought, no, actually, there's something about her that is not necessarily in the film, but Ursula Andress's performance is definitely one that makes you believe the character can do these things. That it's a really good performance, actually. I think I've not thought about actually talking about this. We're just talking about Bond girls here. It's all very silly, but it has made me think about her performance and that she very much convinces as someone who came up tough, who's had a hard life, and who would be a survivor in this situation.
Well, sometimes like the Bond girls literally sort of just turn up for that movie. A Merry Goodnight, for example.
Yes.
Like you don't get a sense of a history beforehand.
No.
And certainly, Honey Rider, you've got a whole history before her.
Yeah.
And maybe, given evidence from the films, a little bit of history afterwards. In the next film, Sean Connery is in bed with Titania and she sees a scar, a jealous lover perhaps.
Scar? You see, I know all about you from your file.
Implication being that jealous lover was knife-loving Honey Rider.
Yes, okay.
I've just said that there
Great character.
there is possible evidence that she got a knife at Bond. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Bond opens up his drawer, Honey Rider's knife. Took it away from her because of what she did to him.
But all that said,
yes,
Wei Lin is one of the strongest.
I'd say amazing that the Bond films hit the floor running with, there's a reason why she's the most iconic Bond girl, and it's not just because she came out of the water.
No, it's a great opening shot for her. But no, she's a character.
Especially sort of the actresses along the Ursula Andress level did a Bond film and nearly never heard from them again. While Ursula Andress did build a career after Bond.
Yeah.
So good for her. But you're out. Wei Lin goes through.
Without any discussion again, we've never had to actually stop and talk about Wei Lin.
I agree. This is no place for the girl. Take her away.
Within the Bond films, the strongest women have been leaning heavily towards the good girls.
Yeah.
That he's very rarely actually having to face up against stronger women. But I guess it's because we've been doing this as a fight, so the stronger women have been maybe stronger more intellectually or rulers of like crime gangs. So I'm thinking like Electra King is a really big threat, but within the context of a fight, she hasn't got it, which is what you probably don't want in every Bond film.
The fact is that Bond girl leans into that trope quite heavily of the hero should be sort of like should be with his hands and on his own and everything, and the bad guys should be just sitting around doing nothing but with armies at their disposal. And that goes for the women as well. Leaning on henchmen is what we say, whereas Bond is alone.
Yes.
Or at least limited.
Okay, so with that, we are going into the semi-final. Anya Amasova,
KGB agent,
going up against Xenia Onatop.
The last bad girl standing.
If you just went with henchmen in general,
yeah,
probably one of the very top tier henchmen. I think she could take out a good swath of the many men that Bond has had to take on.
Absolutely. This is a tough one. You sort of feel like Anya Amasova has to lose a few points for capitulating a little bit to Bond.
Yes.
Xenia Onatop, one of the most consistently bad Bond girls.
There's an interesting bit in Spy Who Loved Me where she sees Q, who is like a proper background person.
Yeah.
And she says,
"Good morning, Major Boothroyd."
Morning, Major.
Showing that she knows who he is. She's coming with the intelligence.
Commander James Bond, recruited to the British Secret Service from the Royal Navy. Many lady friends, but married only once. Wife killed.
All right, you've made your point.
She's not just, strong agent, she's also very smart.
Yes.
That said, I don't see her rely very much on physical strength within the film Spy Who Loved Me.
So she would come into this fight knowing who Onatop is, knowing what she's going up against, and the potential
she's coming
dangers.
in with brains. Xenia Onatop's coming in with brawn and a sadomasochistic
a reckless disregard for her own safety.
Yes. Which I don't know how you prepare for that.
No.
The key!
I see Amasova panicking in times of stress, so when Jaws is ripping the sides off the van.
Quiet. Watch this. Shaken, but not stirred.
Or when the base at the end is filling with water, she's very much out of control. So in high stress situations, I don't think she can hold her own.
Yeah, Onatop's reaction to high stress is just to become more violent. Base state is aggressive and instinctive, and I think that might see her through.
I think it has seen her through.
That's extraordinary.
Xenia Onatop, a top tier favourite from the very start.
Absolutely. Our first finalist.
Going to be facing either Paloma or Wei Lin.
I mean, this could have been a final. I genuinely don't know who's going to come out on top of this one. Wei Lin has had a relatively easy run.
She's had an exceptionally easy run, but is that also because she is an exceptionally high-ranking candidate?
Yeah.
Like if you were doing top 4, she would definitely be in there.
She is pretty much Bond's equal.
I work alone.
As always, they always fall back on that having to be rescued thing at the end. They always fall back. You don't get that with Paloma because she's not in the film enough, but nor do you feel her to be Bond's equal.
I also get the sense that with Wei Lin, she's maybe even a little smarter than Bond.
Yes.
Bond has a cockiness to him which sometimes gets him into trouble. Wei Lin's more quietly confident and not showy.
Yeah.
So she's able to get one-ups on Bond quite frequently within the film. Paloma, we're basing this on one scene she has in the film. And this to me is...
By the way, tremendously disappointing. For a good hour afterwards, I was thinking, but she's coming back, right? Just on a side note, don't write such a great character and then don't have her again.
When she first got introduced and she was like super ditzy, I was like, oh, we're doing this again.
Cece, I forget things when I get nervous.
So I think it makes that whole action scene all the more exciting. She comes in like a Mary Goodnight and leaves like a Wei Lin.
And that is interesting. There are lots and lots of girls in this list who only get one scene. How many of them are this memorable? And not just because it's a cool scene and she does a lot of action stuff, but she feels like a rounded character within that small time.
Yeah.
She feels like someone who you get to know. And for all that I don't really rate that film, I think that that's good writing.
Sure.
But that's sort of incidental to the question at hand. Wei Lin's a very good character as well. Anna de Armas a fantastic actor, but I would put most of that down to the writing. Wei Lin, I would weight that slightly more to Michelle Yeoh's performance.
What you get with a Michelle Yeoh is somebody who can act and do all their own stunts.
Don't get any ideas.
I'd never dream of it.
Anna de Armas, there's probably a lot of editing, a lot of maybe stunt doubles. There's a lot of things going behind the scenes. When they had Wei Lin, they go, we can give her this stuff to do, and she can do it.
And we talked about the trajectory that actors have been on after Bond. And Michelle Yeoh had a career before James Bond, a very successful one, had a very successful career since James Bond. It is really just one film in a really stellar career that continues.
Yes.
And, you know, you'd love to see her get even greater recognition for what she did in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes. Then along came the best gift. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Shut up, please.
But this isn't a judgment on the actresses.
But it's not. But it's sometimes, you know, these are two really good actors in an action film. Yeah. But they are proper actors.
Cards on the table.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Wei Lin. I think you've got a whole movie of brilliance.
Yeah.
To make the case of a full range of abilities. Where Paloma, she's got one scene.
Cards on the table. I'm leaning the same way, and I'm going to do it. What I sort of alluded to earlier, that Wei Lin is Bond's equal.
Yeah.
Paloma, you wouldn't say, just on the basis of that one scene, you would not say she was his equal.
No.
You'd say she has the potential to be his equal in the future, but she doesn't come across as an agent with that much experience, whereas Wei Lin has that extra edge, I think. So I would give it to her.
Agreed.
Goodbye.
You were excellent.
Time for the final of our Bond Girl Battle Royale tournament.
Xenia Onatop going up against Wei Lin.
This is difficult, partly because they're completely different fighters.
Yes.
Xenia Onatop is very much in the moment. It's action, it's aggression, it's hand-to-hand, close to. Wei Lin is more thoughtful. She's got greater firearm skills, we will assume. Yeah. Although that said, she has martial arts skills as well. We see this.
She's also being the Bond equivalent for Hong Kong. She also comes with a lot of the gadgets.
It's just like home.
Yes.
So she is well stocked with gadgets, where I feel Xenia Onatop is not.
The parameters of these fights are so vague. If you stuck them down in a cage together with absolutely nothing else, then maybe it would be closer. But I still feel like Wei Lin does feel like the Bond who, in that situation, Bond will think his way out of it in some way. He will have, you know, even when there's a laser coming for his crotch, he will think his way out of it. And I see Wei Lin doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We can use the banner.
It's interesting you say that Wei Lin's the all-rounder. Xenia just has this X factor about her.
Yeah.
The fact that she doesn't mind taking punishment. Every other Bond girl you have seen, even when they're strong, at some point become the victim.
Yes.
And that is never the case with Xenia Onatop.
That's actually a really, really good point, because that's Wei Lin's where Waylin falls down, that she does still fall into that Bond girl trope of having to be rescued at the end. Xenia Onatopp, like I said, the most consistent Bond girl. There's never even a wavering of her changing sides, anything like that.
Yeah.
She is strong all the way through.
Relentless. Up until
Relentless.
Up until the point where she dies.
Well, yeah, up until, she doesn't make it.
So, in essence, she does need Bond to save her.
You know she wouldn't ask for it. Not just because she's clearly enjoying it, but...
How would this fight go down, then?
Where would this fight go down?
If it's a firearms fight,
Yeah,
Waylin would
Waylin
win.
wins.
If it's a hand-to-hand fight, Waylin would win. She's got the martial arts background.
I think you're right. I think that Xenia Onatopp would go in like absolutely all guns blazing, and Waylin would be skilled enough to stay alive for long enough for her to let her guard down, for her energy level to drop, and then she would, because she's an agent, I don't think she'd hesitate. She'd strike the final blow. Yeah. And I do think, again, that her ability to think her way around a situation, because even in a confined fighting situation, I think the brain, the tactics matter, and I don't think Xenia Onatopp has tactics.
She's got strong thighs.
Yes. She's got through all this way, and she's had some tough matchups along the way. But I think what we're saying is that it's Waylin.
It's Waylin, the toughest Bond girl.
Nice work.
Who I would pick Waylin unfailingly as I don't really do sort of like who is your absolute favourite. Waylin is definitely one of my favourite Bond girls.
Yeah.
And I think she's a deserving winner of this.
And I think an interesting one in terms of like the casting of her in the film is she got cast because she's Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
And because of what she can do. They allowed that to go onto screen. Where I think other Bond girls, even the tough ones, they're not trained fighters. So
No.
they're doing a lot of acting. Michelle Yeoh is the real thing, and that real thing translates onto the screen.
Lucky for you, I stopped by.
Could have taken care of him.
I think that's a pretty good result. I think we've done everybody proud.
I think so.
I think the important thing is I could not go back, because sometimes, you know, when you get to the end of a tournament, and you go, well, that person won, but if they've met so-and-so who they never met, I don't see anyone in this list who would be a huge challenge to Waylin. I actually think that was a very tough, I think that's a tough final. I think it was a very tough semi-final that she had. She walked it to the semi-finals, but from then on, those were two tough matches she won to get there. She deserved it.
The interesting ones are the ones who made it far longer than you would have expected.
Yeah.
A Dr. Madeline Swan.
Can't believe that.
A Honey Rider.
Can't believe that.
Hip schoolgirl nieces. Like when
Respect
we started.
to them.
When we started, I mean, did we think that they would have made it?
No, I feel like Madeline Swan had no business being there, and I think she should have gone out to Tracy Bond. Honey Rider, it actually made me reassess the character just doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased with that. But the other thing I just wanted to quickly add on that final, Waylin is the winner, but when she's getting her medal and that, then her face is all messed up. It's a tough fight.
If this was of any entertainment to you, we may do something similar again.
Can't imagine what.
There'll be henchmen.
So yeah, that's the end of our Bond Girl Battle Royale. I know for a fact that many of you, most of you, all of you disagree with the result or with individual matches within this. So please feel free to tell us how wrong we are in the comments below. Join the discussion.